let's talk about something that I have been telling you about for many, 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 many years. Math is racist. Now, of course, math is not racist. Neither is English literature or American literature or being on time or proper vernacular. None of that's racist, but this is kind of what we're dealing with. Science is not racist. Yeah, we could go down the list of all of the things in education that we were told were racist. It's unfortunate that we're at this point, but again, this is not something that is new. This is something that has been around for many years that I tried to tell you about, tried to warn you about. When I first moved to Michiana, I was talking about this and people thought I was nuts. Here's this new guy from the big city, and he's talking about how liberals are running around and saying that basic subjects in school are racist and therefore we shouldn't really teach them the way that we ought to teach them. And people thought I was absolutely crazy for saying that. No, nobody actually believes that. Lo and behold, here we go. It's normalized. Now, again, I've had to point this out many, many times. If leftists are telling minorities that education is racist, learning proper English, being able to read the classics, learning math, learning science, being on time, if the left in academia is teaching minority students primarily that is racist, while simultaneously, particularly in the black community, getting an education is frowned upon and seen as a betrayal of the culture, in many places it is, then you start seeing a picture develop, don't you? That it sure does seem like the left is dissuading minorities from getting an education, which is, of course, the exact opposite of what the right wants. The right wants minorities to be educated. The left is the one that is opposed to parents of children being able to take their kids out of a bad school and take them to a good school so they get away from all of the, whether it's peer pressure, whether it's gangs, whether it's drugs, whether it's bad teachers, bad curriculum, bad, disconnected faculty, whatever it is. It's the left that doesn't want parents to be able to do what's best for their kids. It's the right who wants them to be able to. You start evaluating this, any way you slice it, the political right, conservatives in particular, are completely and consistently coming down on the side of, we want all children, regardless of income level, regardless of religious background, regardless of the color of their skin, to get a great education. We want the parents to be able to be in the driver's seat of that. It's the left who opposes all of that. So here we go. The Oregon Department of Education recently encouraged teachers to register for training that encourages ethnomathematics and argues, among other things, that white supremacy manifests itself in the focus on finding the right answer. That's right. Remember the old days when you couldn't use red ink on a paper because it was causing people to have negative feelings about themselves? It was hurting their feelings. They were getting down. You couldn't use red ink to grade a paper and get the answers wrong, So if you got an 80%, you'd write 80 on there. All it did is remind them that they didn't get 100%. The ODE newsletter sent last week advertises a February 21st Pathway to Math Equity micro course, which is designed for middle school teachers to make use of a toolkit for dismantling racism in mathematics. The event website identifies the event as a partnership between California's San Mateo County Office of Education, the Education Trust West, and others. Part of the toolkit includes a list of ways, quote, white supremacy culture allegedly infiltrates math classrooms. Now, what do you think some of the ways that white supremacy culture infiltrates math classrooms? What do you think some of those examples might be? Well, I'll tell you a couple of them coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back to Oregon, which is where Antifa basically makes their home, in Portland. So Oregon is telling you that math is racist. We've been talking about the math is racist, science is racist, English literature is racist for many, many years on this show. Like I said, when I first moved to Michiana a decade ago, some of you thought I was nuts when I was telling you about this, but again, I came from the city, and guess what? They were talking about it. So here's the latest example. We left off at ways that white supremacy culture allegedly infiltrates math classrooms. Those include, this is white supremacist now, the focus on getting the right answer. It's white supremacist. I've said this before. Math is math. It's universal. And when people try to argue that math isn't universal, we start running into real issues. For example, try and keep score, which they don't really want to keep score. Try to become an architect and erect a skyscraper without getting the right answer in math. Just try and do those things. See what happens. See exactly what happens to your culture and your buildings and everything else when the focus isn't on getting the right answer, because the right answer is subjective. Think about what happens there. Students being required to, quote, show their work and other alleged manifestations. Now, I have told you before, I have an issue with the way that the public educational system requires you to show your work. So, told the story before, I'm back in high school. I was better at math than my teacher, who is the track coach. Not a math guy. Basically just read whatever the book told him. But to be a coach at the school, you're required to teach a class. Math was all that was available. Health wasn't available, so he took a math class, and he taught algebra. The problem is he doesn't know algebra. So there was a point where half of the year I was failing the class, even though I was getting the answers all right. And I was failing it because the work that I was showing was different than what the book told him the work should be. And he was convinced, in spite of me being able to show him, he was convinced that I was doing it wrong. No, there's more than one way to get the right answer. All that should matter is that you're getting the right answer and you're showing that you're using some kind of work. It doesn't have to be the work that the teacher wants you to do. That way, you're proving that they're not cheating or using a calculator or an online tool or something like that, but they actually know how to get the right answer. Even if they're not doing the work the way the book is teaching you, you should be doing the work. As long as you're doing that, I think you're good. But unfortunately, in the public educational system, they care about doing the work specifically the way that the book teaches it, even if it's less efficient, right? We've run into that a couple of times with my 8-year-old who is really good at math also. So anyway, the concept of mathematics being purely objective is unequivocally false, and teaching it is even much less so, the document says. Like I said, try and do some chemical formulations. Try and come up with, a COVID vaccine or a cure if you're just running around and you're picking whatever answer you actually want instead of the right one. See how that works out for you and human society. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget you can watch live at dlive.tv/Casey the host. You can also download the free 95.3 MNC app or listen at 95.3mnc.com. More coming up next.